Good morning, everybody. So I'm gonna try and set this timer up before we start. And thank you all for being here. And I'm really excited today to share my capstone project, and which explores the impact of microaggressions on career advancement for Black and Hispanic employees at Coca-Cola. So first of all, I'd like to give a definition for microaggressions so we are all aligned on the meaning of it. And microaggression is a statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group, such as a racial or ethnic minority. And a bit of a background before we get into it is that for Coca-Cola, Black and Hispanic employees suffer the most, and there has been constant battles going on back and forth between them and the company for the past 3 decades. The company has made a commitment to change over time. One of them being in 2000, they paid one of the largest racial discrimination settlements in history. It was successful, however, it was only short-lived as it came back in 2012 again when 16 employees sued for cultural racism that left Black and Hispanic employees particular receiving the most dangerous and least desirable jobs. The company, once again in 2018, appointed Lori George Billingsley as the global chief DEI officer, but once again only lasted 3 years, as in 2021 she resigned, and soon after Coca-Cola faced even more backlash, but this time it was through social media, particularly through Twitter, and the participants were instructed to be, throughout their training, they were instructed to be less white, which sparked a lot of controversy and criticism. And here I'll go into my research question today, which is, what are the systemic factors contributing to the persistence of microaggressions, and how do these impact career advancement for Black and Hispanic employees at Coca-Cola? So I thought this research question aligns with a comprehensive exploration for discrimination issues at Coca-Cola, and I think it emphasizes both the persistence of microaggressions and the tangible effects of career advancement. And this is my conflict map. It might not be big enough for you guys to see, but I don't want to go into I'm not going to go into the details, but I think overall it offers like an overview between mostly the primary actors of the company itself as well as the discriminated workers, and you can see how they're impacted through the different colors of the arrows. So if it's red, it's negatively affecting. If it's green, it's positively affecting. And it ranges from several issues between from these negative affecting between the company and the workers that you can see, ranging from lower compensation, little opportunity for advancement, and consequent efforts on their families and prospects. You can see on the side here that the workers are, as a consequent effect from the company, they are also affecting their families, and as they have life to feed. The narrative and treatment of prejudice within the corporation were influenced by several internal factors, and it is mostly due to the higher-ups, the PR team their selective reporting, as well as not caring enough for these issues and not taking a stance. And these two are the two conflict tools I used. One of the strange loop and the conflict tree. I thought these two were the most appropriate for my conflict setting. So the strange loop captures the recurring cycle within Coca-Cola and their reactive responses. It starts with discriminatory incidents following to employee dissatisfaction, legal challenges, facing backlash. Then Coca-Cola tries to make a change. However, it's only temporary, and they try to fill in the quota, such as like diversity training, and it's only short-term lived, and over time discrimination resurfaces, and this really perpetuate a self-reinforcing loop of conflict. The second one being conflict tree, and this one's more colorful, where it visually maps the systemic roots of discrimination within Coca-Cola, from the fundamental issues like their core values, their ingrained biases, flawed leadership, cultural intolerance, into the trunks, where it highlights unequal pay, lack of promotions, microaggressions, And lastly, the branches highlights the broader impacts such as high employee turnovers, reputational damage. The model really emphasizes the interplay between structural problems within and the visible outcomes, showing that the simply by tackling the surface problems is not enough, and they have to focus on the root issues. This is my needs fear map, and you can kind of see like the overall. Wait, this is not big enough. I feel like I'm missing like a few rows, but okay. But you can see like the needs for the main actors, the parties over here, and you can see there are some recurring needs crossing all of these. And I think one of them, you can say there's a lack of transparency. The employees, they fear of retaliation and they doubt the sincerity of these diversity initiatives. External stakeholders like their families and other communities that are affected, they question the company's commitment to any meaningful change, and this distrust really highlights that within internal and external factors, so such as like internal, there will be a lack of team morale within the company. Workers would not want to do much work, and external being one's lack of like public reputation and lack of trust. There's also a lack of accountability that from these discriminatory behaviors getting thrown out within the company, they go unchecked. They leave the employees who are discriminated, they leave them vulnerable from continuous acts of microaggression, and they keep happening over and over. And to break this ongoing cycle, I think we need to meet we need to meet the needs of all the stakeholders. And here is where I'll propose my 3 interventions. My first one is customized diversity training and awareness. So this is to add on from what Coca-Cola has implemented previously, which is some diversity training and anonymous reporting channels, which I thought was a good initiative. However, I feel like the impact has been limited, and my intervention kind of adds on where it would use interactive workshops and possibly role-playing exercises to highlight these harmful effects of microaggression on motivation and morale within the company, as they are two very important factors. And additionally, making a safe space for everybody to feel safe to share their experiences, and also incorporating a bystander intervention also will help promote and build empathy. And this approach allows the employees to report incidents comfortably. They foster open dialogue and building a culture of collective responsibility. My second intervention is accountability and inclusion culture. So this strategy combines diversity training with broader efforts to integrate inclusion and accountability into the culture, including, I think, leadership engagement, mentorship programs, as well as employee support. This would address mostly unconscious biases, systemic disparities, as well as any practical solutions. The difference between this intervention and the first one, they're a little bit similar, but this intervention addresses more on the broader aspects, and it raises awareness as well as unconscious bias within the company. However, there are challenges that it might require voluntary participation. There might be resistances and questions towards whether or not this will work out in the end. And to overcome them, I feel like Coca-Cola must emphasize cultural sensitivity, first of all, and also continuous assessments over time, and foster open collaboration to ensure any meaningful impact. And lastly, my third intervention is dialogue and deliberation. And Coca-Cola do need a platform where they need to make employees feel safe and express their concerns so they can talk about it. And this is where my intervention comes in, and it creates like a structured forum where employees can openly share their experiences. And this not only goes to employees, where leaderships can also actively participate in these discussions, and that really demonstrates, a commitment from them, and they're willing to take accountability and willing to talk through this. And by integrating their input into organizational decisions, into maintaining this ongoing feedback loop. The intervention ensures that employees are not only heard, but also there are seen tangible changes resulting from these contributions, and they build build an inclusive workplace. There are once again challenges that could include uneven dynamics between the employees and the leadership, and there could be power imbalances as well that come with it. And to overcome the challenges, there should be monitoring going on, where this ongoing feedback loop, this ongoing forum does not get interrupted by like any sort of impartial moderation, and possibly a reduce of microaggression and complaints of racism can also be monitored as a reduction of complaints can be seen as a measurable through the monitoring. So this brings me my network map of this overall conflict. And you can see it's a very centralized hierarchy network where decision makers are highlighted in red, and they have the most say in this. And this kind of creates like an issue of homophily where people in power within Coca-Cola, they have similar characteristics. They only communicate within their own cycle. So as you can also see, there's a gap, there's a structural hole between the HR managers and the discriminated workers where they are not getting reached out. And the structural hole really limits communication between the discriminated workers and the management as a whole. There are also challenges to sustainability, and this includes diversity initiatives, skepticism about the company's commitment to change, and also the hierarchical structure that inhibits cross-level communication. And to tackle these problems, we need to break it down. So I think one main strategy is to use network weaving and to decentralize this entire network, empowering HR as its possible broker or mediator to create continuous feedback systems to ensure that these efforts translate into any meaningful change. And this ultimately promotes a more inclusive and sustainable organizational culture. And lastly, monitor and evaluation. How would we monitor these changes? And we can monitor by turnover rates among the employees. There will be fewer discrimination complaints, hopefully, that comes with these interventions. We can tell if there are improvements from their feedback and the behavior, possible surveys, pre and post training from these, and regular feedback loops. And HR will also track shift in behavior indicators such as assessments, as well as leadership can analyze any discrimination reports and engagement levels to ensure that these interventions remain effective. And these strategies could allow for long-term sustainability and will ensure inclusion and equity. And that brings me to the conclusion of my capstone presentation, and thank you very much.
Thanks, William. Let me turn it over to see if there are any of the capstone teachers or advisors online who want to ask a question. Just unmute if you do.
Hi, William. I have a question for you. This is Amy.
Yeah. Hi, Amy.
Hi. My question for you is around accountability, and I wonder if you could speak to how your interventions address perhaps differences in what accountability really looks like for a variety of parties, and sort of bringing some alignment to that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like I just want to go back maybe to my second intervention. Yeah, so I feel like leadership participation is kind of necessary, as they are like the top dogs, you could say, from this hierarchy network. And if they set a good standard by taking these training sessions and set a positive example, I feel like this will really reinforce their commitment into fostering a better culture for the rest of the company within, as well as the non-discriminated workers themselves as well, because I feel like they do take a role into this entire conflict setting.
All right, thank you, William.